Hello, and thank you for joining me today. Today, we are going to be making a stir fry with a twist. So, most stir fries go over top of rice. Today, this stir fry is going to go over top of pasta. So, the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and turn my pasta water on so that can come up to a boil. And while that's coming up to a boil, I'm just going to talk to you guys about what I did to prep ahead of time. So before I turned the camera on, I already cleaned and cut up my vegetables. Here, they're in two separate bowls because they cook at two different times. So these are more root vegetables. This is celery and carrots. Celery and carrots take much longer to cook than bell peppers, onions, and mushrooms. So I want to put them in the pan first before I put the onions and mushrooms and peppers because they're going to take a little bit longer to cook. The other thing that I prepped already ahead of time is I cut up my chicken already. I just took some chicken breast, made sure I took off the extra fat, any leftover parts that I didn't want on there. Clean this and then just cut it into strips that are similar to the size of the vegetables. Everything doesn't have to be exactly the same size, but close enough. I'm not a machine, I'm a person. So while the water is coming up to a boil for our pasta, today I am using rotini noodles. I will go ahead and turn on the other pan. Now also in this pan, I've already placed a little bit of oil. Inside of this pan is water and oil for the pasta. The only reason that I didn't pour the oil on camera because it's a really big bottle of oil, not something small for me to just handle. So I did that ahead of time. Just adjusting the heat to medium because I don't want my pan too hot. While this pan is coming up to heat, I just wanted to let you know that these are all the seasonings that I'm using today for this meal. And if you've ever watched any of my videos before, you already know I like to prep my seasonings as well as my food ahead of time because then it stops me from fumbling in the kitchen. It stops me from looking for stuff or leaving something out. And it also stops me from cross-contaminating anything in the kitchen while I'm cooking. Because if I've already got everything open and everything ready to go, I don't have to touch anything else. I should be able to pretty much move through this smoothly. The only thing is I'll have to stop to wash my hands because I'll be touching raw chicken. So I begin this meal like I do any meal. Is the first thing you do is wash your hands before you do anything, and you wash your hands after. So I washed my hands, cleaned all of the vegetables, cut them up, and then cut the chicken last. And I cut the chicken last because I was using the same cutting board. If I was using separate cutting boards, that'd be fine. But because I was using the same cutting board, I left the chicken for last because once I'm done with the chicken, I'm going to clean it. And I didn't want to forget to clean it after I cut the chicken up and then cut my vegetables up on a cutting board that was contaminated by raw chicken. So I'm just going to put my hand over top of this pan. Just needs a little bit more time. It's warm, but it's not hot. I just noticed that my Worcestershire sauce, I said it right, isn't open. So I'm just going to open that and adjust this heat up just a little bit. So the first thing that I'm going to put in this pan is going to be my celery and carrots. And I know that usually is backwards. People start with the meat and then they add the vegetables. But again, this is boneless chicken and it's cut up pretty small, so it's not going to take too long to cook. But the root vegetables will take a little longer. And even though I don't want them mushy, I still want them to have some texture, some crunch a little bit to it. And I still want them to be firm. I don't want them to be completely raw. So my pan is hot and I'm just going to place these in. And I normally would dump, but these vegetables are wet and I don't want to splatter myself. All I'm going to do now is just take my spoon just to make sure that they're all spread evenly on the bottom of the pan. So that can start cooking. And I'm going to start seasoning this layer. This is some onion powder. Some garlic powder. Ooh, that came out fast. Not complaining though, I like garlic. Some coarse kosher salt. And just a little bit of red pepper flake, not too much. That smells good. And I'm just going to move it around just a little bit just so that the seasonings get all over the vegetables. And then I'm going to leave it alone. Now, because the vegetables were a little cold and the pan is hot, you do want to give a little bit of time for the temperature to come back up to the initial heat that it was before you add anything else to the pan. Because if you keep adding stuff before the temperature readjusts, you're not going to be sauteing in the pan. You're going to be like stewing or boiling in the pan. It's going to drop the temperature too much. And instead of it having that sizzle that you're hearing from the oil, you'll start having a lot of moisture and water in the pan, and it'll be boiling and it won't be sauteing anymore. I'm going to keep my eye on this pan where I'm starting to see some little bubbles coming up, but not too much, so that's going to be boiling soon. And I only want these to cook just for a few minutes before I add the chicken in. This smells good already. I can see and feel the celery starting to wilt just a little bit. You know, celery does take a little while to cook, but it is starting to soften up. And it's because of the way that I cut it. And all I did was just took the stalks after I cleaned them and just cut them on a diagonal. So again, I don't want to cook them all the way. I just wanted them to get a head start on cooking. So now I'm going to add in the raw chicken. And again, you never want to put things in one part of the pan. You always want to spread it out so that things are evenly cooked. And now I'm going to wash my hands in the cutting board. Okay, and I'm back. So now that I'm cleaned up, the cutting board and knife is cleaned up, and the counter is cleaned up, what I'm going to do is drop my pasta because the pasta water is boiling. And I'm just going to take my spoon that hasn't been touched by chicken yet and just make sure that none of that pasta stuck to each other and it's moved around so it can go ahead and boil. And now I'm going to go ahead and season the chicken layer. This again is onion powder, garlic powder, some fresh garlic will go good in this too. Coarse salt. Not going to put more red pepper flake because I don't want too much. But I am going to go ahead and mix this up. Didn't see me adding any black pepper, only because I ran out. This looks and smells so good. And again, we just want to get that chicken almost all the way cooked. Here. It's going to take no time for that pasta. And do you hear now that I've incorporated the chicken into the celery and carrots in the pan? Now do you hear how quiet the pan has gotten? The It's not as loud as it was before sizzling. That's because the chicken that's on top was cooler than the chicken that was touching the vegetables. And once I mixed that all the way in, it dropped the temperature of the pan tremendously. And that's what I was saying about not moving things around too much, because you want to get that temperature back up. So right now, I'm just going to leave this and allow that temperature to come all the way back up to that sizzle that we were hearing before. And once that does, I'm just going to turn it again and then add the vegetables. That pasta's going to be done in no time. It's going to be done really, really quick. And I can already hear it starting to get a little bit louder. Just going to turn my pasta water down just a little bit, because I don't want it to boil out too much water before my pasta's all the way done. It smells so good. It smells good. Let's see what to do. You know what I am going to do? This just came to me. I'm going to add a little bit of lemon pepper, because I'm flavoring the pasta with this, so I want the flavor to be in with the chicken as well. Not too much, just enough. And I can hear my sizzle coming up. It's not as loud as it was before, but it is coming back up, and I can see it in the bottom of the pan going. So I'm just going to stir in that seasoning. And now that that's all stirred in, I'm going to slowly add in the vegetables. And the only reason I'm slowly adding them in is because I have one family member who doesn't like mushrooms, and I have to take the mushrooms out. Like pick them out one by one, or pick them out as I was making the plate. Because, you know, we as wives and mothers, we also always have to make sure that we are feeding our families according to their likes and dislikes. So I'm going to remove all of the mushrooms before I add the onions and peppers in, and then I will add them in at the end after I remove the one family member's portion out who does not eat mushrooms, if that makes sense. So because I only have one hand, just bear with me as I add this to the pan. And again, when you add anything to the pan, you want to make sure you're going in a circular motion around the pan, just to make sure that everything is spread out. Got another piece of mushroom. And is evenly distributed in the pans for even cooking. And remember when I was saying that, you know, you could try to get everything the same shape when you're cutting it up, but don't worry about it if you don't. As you notice when I put the stuff in, the carrots and the celery seem to be cut up the same way. The onions and peppers seem to be cut up the same way, and then the chicken's cut up its own separate way. So you could also do it like that, like vegetables, just cut up the same kind of way, but it's totally up to you. And again, we always season every layer, because if you only season one layer, that could cause for you or a family member to, well, I keep forgetting about how full that garlic powder is. That'll cause you or your family to add extra salt at the end, thinking that you need it, and you may not need it as much, and you might add too much. So I like to make sure that I season every layer, just so that once this comes to the plate, it's seasoned well enough for everyone to eat it. All right. I'm about to rinse my spoon, just so I can check my pasta. Because I don't want to dump my pasta. I want to keep I want to keep some of the pasta water. So I'm just going to pull my pasta out of this once it's done. So I'm just going to take a piece out. It can go for like barely a minute. It's just got a little bit extra of a bite, but not too much. Yeah. Actually, let me rinse both of this out. Only because I did touch that with raw chicken, and I don't want to put my pasta in a bowl that had any kind of remnants of any raw chicken, because again, I don't want to get myself or my family sick from cross-contamination in the kitchen. That's one thing we do not want. So, can you hear this starting to come back up? So since I can hear it starting to come back up, I'm just going to go ahead and stir in the last bit of vegetables that I put in there. And again, with stir fry, I want my vegetables cooked, but I don't want them mushy. So I don't want to get my vegetables cooked so done that they're really soft. I still want them to have a bit of a bite, even though they're cooked all the way through. Can you see all the colors in this pan? I love it. I'm going to go ahead and start removing my pasta. Only because it's going to keep cooking even in the bowl because it's all together and it's hot. So the only reason that I'm taking it out this way again is because I want to keep my pasta water, because I'm going to use some of it. And I know if I dump it into the colander, I'm going to end up dumping out all of my pasta water. I just got to put this down because this bowl is getting heavy. I wish you guys could smell this. This smells so good. So good, and I'm not even finished. If you want, you can do that for me. Thank you for helping. I had to explain how I had to leave the mushrooms out for you.
Yeah, I don't like mushrooms. Not at all.
So I'm probably gonna give this one more good stir before I add any of the Worcestershire sauce. I'm getting better at that.
Yeah, forever with this.
It's really hot in here. I'm sweating. Don't try to leave my noodles. Don't try to leave my noodles. This could be done in a stainless steel pan. This could be done in a cast iron pan. This could be done in a wok. I'm just doing it in a stainless steel pan because it was wide enough to fit everything that I needed to go in here. And I am about to hit this with some Worcestershire. There we go. Worcestershire.
Like Warminster. Worcestershire.
Ooh. That just sent the flavor, the smell flavor profile way through the roof. And as you can see, we're really done. Only thing that I'm going to do now is take out one of the carrots or celery just to taste it and see if it's done all the way through. A piece of celery. Oh, that's real good. That's delicious. It's still crunchy enough, but it's not raw. You know it's a celery. It doesn't taste like anything else. I can taste that lemon pepper coming through. And the Worcestershire sauce was just the hint that it needed. So all I'm going to do now is just take my spoon and get some of that pasta water. Remember I told you I was going to use some of it? And just add some of that starchy, oily water that I cooked the pasta in. And it's just going to turn this up just a little bit more. And all I'm going to do is just make sure all the pasta water and the Worcestershire sauce is all mixed in. And, oh, did I knock someone? Almost lost some food. And while this is doing this, I'm just going to take my pasta, hit it with some lemon pepper, and I only oiled the pasta water. I didn't salt it because I knew I was doing this. So I'm going to hit it with some lemon pepper. And I'm not sure if you know this, when I was putting the pasta in, some of the pasta water did go in here. But I'm going to add just a little bit more just to make sure that I've got enough. Just one spoon. Let's see what 2 spoons look like. And all I'm going to do is just mix in the lemon pepper. And you want to make sure all the pasta is coated in lemon pepper. You can add butter at this stage if you like. Because I use a little bit of vegetable oil, I don't want to put butter. But that's just a preference. If you choose to put butter, you can. I'm just choosing not to. You could add a little olive oil here if you like. Again, it's your choice. That's the plus about cooking our own meals at home. When we home cook, you cook it however way you choose to. So all I did was just made sure all the pasta was coated. Oh, can you see that? In the lemon pepper. See it there? And now I am going to, let's see how I'm going to maneuver this. Wait, let me rinse my hands real quick. And I'm about to be like Mom MacGyver. I'm going to put my mushrooms in my hand again. Again, remember, I got to accommodate those who do not eat mushrooms. Oh, I lost one. Mushroom down, mushroom down. So I'm just going to take this same bowl that I had the vegetables in, and I'm just going to pull some of this out. And that's all you have to do. My mom did this when I was young. I didn't eat red kidney beans, and she liked red kidney beans in her chili. So right before she added the red kidney beans to the pot, she would just pull out my portion. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just pulling out his portion before I add in the mushrooms. Voila. And mushrooms, they don't take any time to cook because you can eat them raw. All I'm going to do is just get them cooked a little bit, just warm through. Get them to soak up some of those juices and get some of the flavors that is in the pan. I don't even need to add any more seasoning because it was just a handful of mushrooms, so the flavor that's in here is enough. And you see I'm moving because the mushrooms are already cooking that fast. Like I can already see them starting to cook. So that's that. All I'm going to do now is just wait for these mushrooms to cook to my liking, which is not too long. I just like sauteed mushrooms, so I just want to make sure that they're sauteed. But all I'm going to do next is just plate this. I'm going to take some of this pasta, put it on the bottom of a plate or a bowl, and then take some of the stir fry and the juices in the pan and pour it over top. And that's an easy stir fry meal that doesn't have to go over rice. So if you're trying to stay away from starch or limit your starch, you can easily make this with veggie pasta even with fresh veggie pasta, like if you made your own carrot pasta, you don't even have to use any starch at all. So just a quick and easy stir fry, and you got to see how I accommodate the likes and dislikes of what my family eats. And yeah, I'll be eating in a few minutes. Alright, I hope you guys like this. Again, I'm just going to let this go for a few minutes just to get the mushrooms the way I like them. But we're done. I hope you like this video, and I would love to see if you make this for you and your family.